Good morning. Happy to be here with you this morning. Hey, I've got a what if for you. What if everyone in this room could live for an extremely long time and be effective while you do that? Now, maybe some of you don't want to live for an extremely long time, not in the but let's just go with me here. Go with me here. What if you could do that? Imagine yourself in a scenario where you are extremely effective in ministry. You're extremely effective, much like you are right now. You're extremely effective in ministry, and you're able to do that for as long as you want to. That's the fun. So that's what I want to talk to you about today, this kind of what if scenario. I have no scripture verses in my talk. I apologize for that. I figured you would get enough of that here and some other places through the rest of the day. So Dr. Frey is actually going to come out today. And I'm going to give you some research and some other things. People talk about statistics a lot. Most, I'd say, 67% of all statistics are made up. Just made that up. The other 15% are usually miscalculated. And then 50% of people don't even listen to the percentage number anyway. So anyway, I'm going to tell you a lot of research studies. I'm not going to give you the actual reference and talk about the specifics, but I will give you one statistic. The worst statistic that I know of, and that is burnout. Now, this is a real statistic. Roger mentioned if Gallup or someone else would study. There is a statistic where they did actually ask leaders in ministry and said, how many of you thought about leaving the ministry? And 80% of the people raised their hands. Then they said, hey, how many of you actually know somebody who has left the ministry, you yourself or know somebody? 100% of the hands went up. It was 100%. Seldom, when you put a survey out, it has 100%. Somebody, that means everybody in here knows somebody who potentially has left the ministry. So if these statistics are right, unfortunately, you are headed for burnout. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. So my dad's motto growing up that he instilled in me was, if God can get it through you, God will get it to you. And it's not a prosperity message or anything, and I've never seen it fail me yet. And so that's part of the reason that I'm here today talking with you. One of his other kind of unspoken mottos was, flame out, don't fade out. Which, good or bad. I mean, you can think about that one. I don't want necessarily any of you to flame out. So I want to talk to you about another word. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to have a word up here. And I've got maybe 15 more, and I'm going to talk about them. And this next one I want to talk about is sustainability. So I got my PhD actually in sustainability. I went to a business school. I did that. And people say, oh, you're going to study technology, or you're going to study business, or you're going to study, what are you going to study? You know what I want to study? I want to study the sustainability of nonprofit leaders. Excuse me, what do you want to do that for? What's that? Well, because that was what I was most interested in. I wanted to know why people like you burn out and how can we keep you more healthy and doing that. So sustainability has two components: leadership effectiveness and personal well-being, okay? Sustainability, I define that as leadership effectiveness. You've got to sustain something. What are you going to sustain? You're going to sustain that. How are you going to do that? Through your personal well-being. And the definition is actually over the long haul. Leadership effectiveness, personal well-being over the long haul. In my research, I was able to interview not only nonprofit leaders, but spouses who really know what's going on, direct reports. I was able to study boards of the individual, and I was able to get a kind of a 360 view of what really does that. What really is sustainability? And if I think about it, the main enemy of sustainability is something you all are familiar with. It's sacrifice. Let me read the definition of sacrifice. The giving up of one's own interests or wishes in order to help others or advance a cause. Does that sound familiar? Anybody doing that right now? Yes? I'm not going to have a show of hands, but I think they all go up. You forego sleep. You forego money. You forego family time. You forego, there's a lot of things that you forego. Giving up your own wishes to be able to advance a cause. And here's where you probably think, hey, Jeff, I know what you're going to tell me. You're going to tell me to stop doing that. You're going to take a break, stop doing that. I'm sorry, in my research and how I feel, nope, keep doing it. Keep doing it. Keep sacrificing. I want you to sacrifice all day, every day. Absolutely. Go do it. I'm not telling you that you can't and you're not allowed to do that. Okay? So hear that. But I want to talk to you about another word, and it's stewardship. They are not mutually exclusive. Do you hear what I'm telling you? It's not that you sacrifice and then you steward. Self-stewardship. The practice of supervising or taking an active role in protecting one's own well-being and happiness. All right, so supervising, which means you take a step back and you look at yourself and you go, okay, let me supervise this thing, or take an active role in practicing this. So that means that you've got to have this dual vision. You're in it and you're doing it, but you're also kind of away from it and you're watching yourself and you're like, is this the right thing to be doing right now? I'm not sure if that's what I should be doing. They aren't mutually exclusive. Now, you all heard of work-life balance, right? Work-life balance. I have been able to exterminate the word balance from my vocabulary because of my research. There's no such thing as work-life balance. I got to break it to you. If you say that, I'm sorry. From now on, prioritize. When you think balance, think priority. When you balance something, it means two things are absolutely the same, and you're trying to keep them together the same before one gets off of a scale. That's not what we're doing here. Okay? It's okay to prioritize your ministry over yourself for a while. But then you have to prioritize yourself over your ministry just for a while. Just a little. So this balance of this, you've got to be able to keep that thing going. So just prioritize, right? Balance. It was it's okay. Most people think it's selfish to do that. Okay? There's another good word that I've got for you. They think it's selfish. If you recognize that picture, some of you are supposed to be there on Sundays, or at your ministry, or on Thursdays we do this, and I'm always there, and I'm doing that. It's like, you know what? Some people think if you're not there, you're being selfish, because some of you think if you're not there, you're being selfish. If that feels like you, I'm telling you, it's not. And there's lots of reasons why it's not. In fact, in my research, if you feel like you're not sacrificing, you're not giving your all, you were called, you're blessed, you're prioritizing your ministry over yourself. If you feel selfish for doing that, for not being there, that is the most destructive feeling that you can have, and that is really what leads to burnout. If you think that, I'm sorry, but I'm going to tell you you're on the way to Sillyville. Sillyville is a place. I have a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old, and Sillyville is a place that when they are thinking something that's way off, we say in our household, oh, you're living in Sillyville. And I'm going to tell you this, and I need you to believe me, that when I lined all the research up and I looked at people who are affected by the ministry, so a congregation, the poor, those people, When the leader takes care of themselves, those people flourish more than if the leader has not taken care of themselves. Now, it's not a direct path. It goes through a bunch of different angles and ways and all this other stuff. But you think, okay, if I stay up all night, okay, if I do that thing, if I'm pouring myself into it, the ministry will be better. Those people will be more blessed. Absolutely. You think that. And what you don't realize is you're hurting those people because you're hurting yourself. It's proven research. I mean, I've got studies you can read and things. And so if you just take care of yourself, take a step back, take a break, you will be more effective in the ministry. The ministry will have a bigger impact. Those people will be impacted more. Believe me, that's true. If it doesn't feel like that, I'm sorry. Maybe you think I'm living in Sillyville right now. But you know, and the goal would be not necessarily for you to live forever, okay? We know that's not the case. It's probably not going to happen. And I mentioned that about living a long time. But what I'd love to be able to say for each one of you is that you create something that does live forever. That you impact people, and it is a forever impact. And that's another word for me. That's a legacy, right? A lot of us have hobbies. We have hobbies where we create things. And I brought a prop here. Roger brought a battle rope. I brought a knife. I'm not gonna use this anyway. My father-in-law made this for me. This is from scratch, nothingness. He made this for me, and it fits in my hand. He measured my hand really well. He did not sharpen it because he knows me. So it is pretty dull. But you know, if you look at the handle, you look at all this. Some of you have hobbies where you create things. You have a ministry that is doing good work. My father-in-law is very proud of this. He put his initials on that DM. He's got that right there. This is going to outlive him. It's probably might even outlive me. I might give it to my kids. He makes those. It takes him 40 hours to make those. Every knife, custom knife, takes him about 40 hours to make. He's in it, and he takes good care of it. All right. Does he do that all at one time? No. Like 40 hours. Does he stay up all night? And does he? What would this look like if he didn't take care of himself when he was making it? It wouldn't look like this. It wouldn't be this cool. What makes you all think that you can just spend all your time trying to create something and it's going to come out okay? He's got to sleep at some point in time and make this. You have to invest in yourself in order to create something that's absolutely amazing like this. You all are part of a ministry. You're trying to make that an amazing thing. And so you think pouring into it and pouring into it and pouring into it is the best thing. Just think about what I said just now. You pour into it, prioritize yourself. Okay, I'm back. All right, now pour into it, right? Sacrifice, absolutely, right here. But then go self-steward and then come back and sacrifice and then self-steward and go back and forth. Okay, why is that so hard? Because when the mission of an organization matches so closely with a mission internally, not that that's any of us, any of you have that, the mission of your organization, some of you started the organization. How much more of a mission connection can you get if you started it, right? When you have that close to the mission, then research says that you are giving yourself over to the mission of that organization more likely than, oh, it's just a job. That's just a job. I mean, I'm just doing a 9 to 5. I come home, I don't even think about it. You know, there's people out there like that. There are actually. I don't know any of them, but you all don't have that. You have a personal connection that has, and I'm assuming this, but I'm pretty sure I'm right, that has a huge, deep connection to the mission of your organization. And when you do that, you give yourself over to that more likely. And the poll that I was talking about before, when they said, do you have a personal connection to the organization? 90% of the people said that they do. In this room, you all filled out an assessment. That assessment had some things on the front end of it. And I just give you a couple little statistics here about people in the room. We have people in the room from 23 years of age to 77 years of age. In ministry, some of you have been in the ministry a few months, and some of you have been in ministry up to 52 years in ministry. People under the ministry of the individuals in this room, people, it said, how many folks are in this? And I was able to tabulate that and kind of approximate and do some other things. 130,379 people are inside the ministries or are blessed. That's direct. Inside the ministries just in this room. And some of you right now are thinking, this is good information. This is great information. I love this. I wrote some of the stuff down Roger said. I can't wait to tell Joe this when I get back. Oh, I wish Sarah were sitting here to see this. And some of you right now are thinking about those 130,000 people, and that's amazing, and I get that. Stop. Stop thinking about them and think about you. Okay, this information actually, it's for them, and they'll get it through you at some point in time, but right now, think about it for yourself. I know you wrote somebody's name down. Oh, they need to hear this, or I'm going to go back and tell them this. I get it. Do that later, but right now, just listen for you. Take this in for yourself. That's why you're here. Prioritize yourself today. In fact, what we'll do is stop taking notes for a second and stop. I want to give you a little mindfulness exercise. I want to talk about something. Go ahead, and the S in stop is actually for stop. The T is take a breath. So here's how we're going to do it. Everybody's going to breathe in their nose for 4 counts. Ready? Breathe in nose, 4 counts. I didn't hear it, but you got it? Pause for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Out through your mouth for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, do it one more time. In through your nose, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Out for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 4. 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's called a box breath. You do that 4 times. You physiologically have a difference that calms your heart rate down, and it causes all kinds of chemicals, which Roger had already talked about. It causes those chemicals to do some things which calms you. So if you are in your day and you're feeling stressed, you head to somewhere and do a little box breath. Right? That's take a breath. O for observe. Observe yourself. Observe your surroundings. Observe what's going on around you. And then P, proceed. It's a very quick little thing to do. Right? You can research this on the internet, put in stop, breath, something, and you'll see the benefits of just doing that maybe 1 time during the day, maybe 50 times during the day if you need it. All right, do it when you need it. When I'm married to a marriage counselor. I'll give you my wife. My wife is a marriage counselor. That's a whole nother talk. No, I make a joke about it, but it is pretty awesome, actually. Don't tell her I said that, but it's pretty awesome to be married to a marriage counselor sometimes. But when we were getting married, the day of our wedding, Stephanie said, I want to make sure we remember this. She had me set a timer. It was like some random 43 minutes or something on my watch. And when the timer went off, I was to get her, and we were to stand somewhere, and we were to observe. So 43, beep, 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 beep. Oh, we're in the midst of all this stuff. Hey, Steph, yeah, come here. This is cool, isn't it? Yeah, I love you. I love you too. This is awesome. Hey, did you see cousin? No, I didn't see. Oh, look at that over there. Wow, that's awesome. Okay, all right, back to it, huh? Back to it, all right. And we go do the deal, and it's all stuff, beep, 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 beep. Oh, hey, look at this. And we go, so she had me she's trained me from a very young age. She's trained me to do things like this. But that's what I want you to do in your ministry. I want you to take a step back. I want you to stop, for a minute, and I want you to see what's going on around you. This is a form of mindfulness. It's a word that you've got. It's a packed-in word. Roger talked about the pandemic, and I'll just give you another term that mindfulness folks use, and it's cognitive load. Cognitive load. If you think about the dump truck that's up here, there's only so much room in our brain to be able to do something. And so if you're thinking about something, it's usually, and we say stuff, it's not in the front of your brain, it's all over. But we say stuff like, hey, it's in the front of your brain. Oh, I'm thinking about right now, it's in the front of my brain. Great. The pandemic goes and sits in the back of people's brains. And add to that, the kids have to do remote learning, and my mom is in a nursing home, and I've got the ministry, and I've got these people. And what happens is we put this load, cognitive load, on ourselves, and there's only so much time and so much effort that we can stick in the front of our brain to be able to think of things. You're not thinking about it right now, but it's there, and all the people that you're dealing with have it there. So it's okay to feel as if things are muddy. It's okay to feel like, I don't know exactly what to do in this situation, because everybody's got this cognitive load right now. So what we really need to do is change perspective. And so Roger is fond sometimes of, when he's preaching, he'll say, strap in. Whoa, strap in. I'm about to give you something. He says that. It's usually pretty far into the sermon. And it's like, I thought we were done by now. Oh no, strap in? Okay. All right. I got notes. Dang, I didn't realize. My wife is going to allow me to tell this story. I did ask her if I could tell this story. There's this kids ride. Doesn't matter what it was. My kids were on this ride. They rode it for like 30 times. They rode it a bunch of times. They're like, Dad, you got to go on this ride. I'm like, okay. And it's a kiddie ride. I get on it, and it was actually pretty enjoyable. I mean, it was, it's a kids ride, but I lost my stomach once. And I was like, oh, it was actually fun. This is neat. My wife does not like rides at all. Anytime. I said, Steph, it's a kids ride, but it's fun. And I want you to feel that exhilaration. She gets on the ride, and she's riding it, and I'm doing it, and she's got my kids on it too. And all of a sudden I hear this, stop the ride, stop the ride, stop the ride. And I look up and I'm like, oh no. And she's like trying to crawl out of the thing and everything. And I go, oh gosh. And so I go over to the operator and I say, hey, this is my wife up there. And she goes, yeah. I said, what's it take to stop the ride? She's like, well, the big red button right here. And I said, so if you stop it? And she says, oh, no. You got to get ladders out. Everybody'd have to get down. There's this thing. And then all of a sudden I hear, Jeff, stop the ride. Jeff. And I'm like, are you Jeff? I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's So so the operator says, well, there's only 20 seconds left. And it's sitting there, 18, 17, 16. And I'm like, 20 seconds? She can do anything for 20 seconds. I mean, she's got this, right? She gets off the ride and she's like, why didn't you stop it? And I said, well, I could see you're going to be fine. And I can see there was only like 10 seconds by the time there was only 10 seconds left. So we debriefed afterwards. We have retrospectives. She is a marriage counselor, of course. I'm not saying a third party was involved in talking about this, but she said, Jeff, if you could have seen it from my perspective, you would have stopped it. And I said, Steph, if you could have seen it from my perspective, you would have kept going. We need to have that dual vision in our lives. We're in this ministry and we're doing this work and we're doing this. It's like, you know what? I just got to stop it. I got to stop. We got to stop the ride. Jeff, stop the ride. Jeff, stop the ride. And doing that. But if you take a step back and you look at what you're going through and go, no, I can keep going with that. See, I'm not telling you not to keep sacrificing. Do you understand where I'm at right now? I'm telling you to self-steward. I'm saying you got to have this vision on either side. So you took an assessment. And it's in your folder. And what I want you to do is think of a wheel. So the idea is, there's this wheel. It's got a picture. There's some numbers there. And it's very simple to read this. I've seen 1,000 of them. Well, I've seen several thousand of them. If you would like some help in interpreting them, I can do that with you, for you, but I'm going to give it to you simple. There's a wheel there. Imagine going down the road, and that's the front wheel of your motorcycle, okay? When you go down the road, I don't care if it's all small or big or anything, there's a part that's dipped in further than the rest of the parts. And that's where you're going to get stuck. So if I'm driving down the road, I'm doing something, it's on my bicycle, it's in my car, whatever. When I hit that low spot, I'm going to catch, something's going to be wrong. I'm skipping over that. There's a problem there. And I'm getting stuck on it. So I want you to just think about that. Now, those components of that wheel, this assessment has been validated. We got a grant of $1 million to actually take this assessment and track pastors over the next 5 years with this. So it's a legit thing that you have in your hand. And the idea is, I want you to get those parts filled out as much as possible. So it's up to you. On the left-hand side, there are numbers, and that's what an expert would say maybe you need to work on first, the red portions of that, maybe the lowest numbers. On the right-hand side is your affinity towards working on something like that. So if it's low, if your satisfaction level is low, where they both match up is really where you want to work, and that's typical. But you might have something else that you're highly motivated to work on, and that's great. So that's the assessment. It's meant to be a starting point. You answered all the questions. It wasn't like someone else filled it out for you. And so how you filled it out is how you filled it out, okay? But what I want you to do is I want you to look at one of those areas. They have lines between them, but if you just take a single step in one area, it'll pull the rest of them along with it. You might look at that and you might go, oh man, there's 7 different sections out of the 10 that Jeff, I need to work on. I don't have any idea what to work on. Pick one that you're highly motivated to work on and do it. You're going to get cliche quote, every journey starts with a single step. Take a single step. Right? It'll tug the rest of them along with it, right? We are all on an upward trajectory. So if you take that single step, I'm hoping that everybody is kind of along this affinity line, right? You are headed towards something. And some people start here, some people start here. But the idea is to get that single step upward for everybody. And so in order to do that, we're going to create goals. And the easiest way to create a goal, I don't know how many of you have heard about SMART goals, S-M-A-R-T. You can look that one up on the internet as well. We're going to have you create some SMART goals. They've got to be specific about something. If I say, hey, I want to lose weight, that's a great initiative, but how do you know you're going to do that? What happens and what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to eat less calories and I'm going to move more so that I burn more calories over the next 2 weeks. So SMART is specific. You want to make it really specific. You want to make it measurable so you know you did it. You can see the pounds or the calories or something. You want to make sure it's attainable. It's not really good to set a goal if you can't actually do it, so you want to make it attainable. R is relevant to what you have going on in your life, and then T is time-bound. So we're going to look at the assessment. I'm going to have you do that. I'm going to have you pick an area. I'm going to have you create a SMART goal around that area, and then we're going to get into groups. And those are your rope groups. And in the rope groups, you know the logistics here. They're going to explain that to you. But what I want to encourage you is to be gestalt in that. And this is another thing you can Google. But I'll tell you what it means. If you have someone in a group that you're talking to, and they say, I've got this thing that I'm working on, and you might be flying high and you have a higher goal. Someone might be low and has a goal to get here. No problem. The idea is that when someone shares, this is what I want to do, if you have something in your past that could help them, then say that story. Tell them, help them, right? As Mark said at the beginning, you're in front of them with the rope. This is a grab the rope moment where you're helping them up. Bring them closer to you, right? If you're just speaking advice from, oh, well, I think you should do this or you should do that, probably not helpful, right? If you've got something in your background or history that can help, go ahead and help. And do that in these groups. If you do that, if you all create a goal and you all help each other get through those goals, can you imagine in 3 months where you guys will be? This is amazing. This is an amazing opportunity to be able to create something like this. Remember that leadership effectiveness and kind of personal well-being? Well, I've got this motto in my existence, and I call it further, faster. Further being longevity, and faster being achievement right now. And so if you get that dual kind of vision, right, where you're thinking, okay, how am I going to do this? What am I going to do? There, when you're in it, there may be ways to prioritize your longevity or prioritize the thing that's happening right now today. So when you're confronted with an issue, a problem, something that's going on, when you're confronted with that, you have a decision to make. Am I going to press in or am I going to take a break? I can't tell you which one to do, and I'm not telling you which one to do. All right? What I want you to do is figure out which one to do. And to be honest, if you have a tendency to press in and go after it, what I want you to do is take a break. And if you have a tendency to go, you know what, I think in this case, I could just let that and we could do that, get in there and finish it out. Because typically, your first kind of tendency and gut reaction is to do the thing that you always do, and that's probably the wrong thing to do. There is such a thing as taking too many breaks. I'm sorry I said that. There is a thing, right? I don't think people in this room have that problem with what's going on. But there is that. All right, so the idea is to do it with intentionality. Most humans, and this is another statistic, I'm not going to tell you numbers. Most statistics go through life, and most people go through life, and humans go through life on autopilot. They let today happen to them today, and they do that. Most humans also worry about the past and worry about the future. Right? The past is gone. We're not going to change it. The future, we have no idea what's going to happen. No sense in worrying about it. Today's the day. We live with intentionality today. And you do things that matter today. Okay, I'm going to give you one last word, or actually it's a number. It's 1,660 or 1660. It's one last slide. So you can put that slide up for me. Okay, guesses on what this what this is. Guesses on this. Say again? Oh, how many seconds there is in a box breath? That's pretty good. That's nice. Yeah. Oh, a boxing fight. Is it really though? Did I say it? Oh, he doesn't know. Okay. I thought I unintentionally did something. Yeah. Another punch is thrown in a fight. Oh, that's good. I put the fighting up there so you all think it's right. I'm glad I did this way. It's the number of years in ministry represented in this room. 1,660 years. 1,660 years you all have been in ministry. And that's not including the volunteers back here and me and some other people. That's just the folks that are attending right now. That's a lot of years, folks. But here's the fun part. If you get to next year, there's 140 people that came to this. If you get to next year, it'll be 1,800. My goal is to have 1,800 years next year for all of you. Not 1,799, because that means one of you dropped out of ministry. I have a vision for sustainability for you, and includes all the things that we talked about just now, right? It's got that dual vision. You're taking a step back. You're sacrificing the life out of yourself, but you're stewarding yourself as it goes. The assessment, the groups today is all part of that. I want to see this get to 1,800 next year. And I pray that each one of you has a very successful year in ministry. Leadership effectiveness, personal well-being sustains you throughout this next year and throughout the long haul.